So let's go back and talk about, I've just mentioned in the last video that I like cooking in coconut oil, butter and extra virgin olive oil. We're going to talk a little bit more about fats. Okay, let's get one thing straight away, and that is that the saturated fats cause heart disease story is dead. There have now been 8 meta-analyses around the world, done around the world. One of the people in our group, the Nutrition Science group, is Stephen Hamley. Now Stephen is, he's nearing the end of his PhD on insulin resistance, and he is, he's a world authority. He's one of the people that's done a meta-analysis on the question of, do saturated fats cause heart disease? So I want you to get over your fat phobia if you are going to stay long-term on the low insulin strategy of low-carb, high-fat eating. Because if you just do low-carb eating and low-fat eating, you won't stick with it. Michael Mosley tells the story on himself where he knew everything that he should be doing. He got 6 months into his journey into low-carb and low-fat. Oh God, he just could not stay with it. But the two things that satiate our appetite the most are fat and protein. So if you can get over your fat phobia, then that's very important. So let's go back to the things that I like you to cook with. So coconut oil has got a couple of advantages. One is it's a fat that is very readily broken down in the liver into ketones. And we're aiming to get to a stage where for most people the magic starts happening when you get to a ketone level of between 1 and 2. And so coconut oil is good from that point of view. Like the other fats, it satiates your appetite. And another important thing about coconut oil is it's got a very high, what's called smoking point. I think it's 232 degrees Celsius, but it's very high. It's higher than any of the other oils. And so you can cook in it hot without actually creating some of these aldehydes and trans fats that are created when we take oils past their smoking point. Second oil I love is butter. Now butter, we in Australia and New Zealand, we don't have our dairy cows in feedlots, so they're not grain fed. Our dairy cows get grass-fed butter. And grass-fed butter, high in omega-3 fatty acids, tastes great, and it adds a flavour to lots of foods. So butter, and we know that one of the volatile fatty acids in butter is called butyrate. And we know that butyrate is very important for nourishing the cells that line the part of our intestinal tract, the large intestine, where we share life with 1 trillion bacteria. So butter helps nourish those colonocytes. Then the last source of oil is extra virgin olive oil. Now, even if you're a dietitian who was trained traditionally 40 years ago, you haven't read any scientific papers for the last 10 years, you will still be happy with extra virgin olive oil. It's a source of monosaturated fats. All the doctors that are told when the drug rep comes into their surgery and talks to them about whatever statin their pharmaceutical company produces, they're all happy with the extra virgin olive oil story. So if you want a non-conflict ridden way of going about your low insulin life, and you don't want to have to explain to your cardiologist or your GP or your dietitian why you have gone on this new way of eating where you consume more than 10% saturated fats, then stick with Cobram Estate. Well, Cobram Estate is my favourite. Boundary Bend is the company that sits at the top of Cobram Estate extra virgin olive oil. It's their premium brand extra virgin olive oil. And when Choice did a study 2 years ago looking at all of the extra virgin olive oils on the market, that's whether they came from Spain or Italy or Croatia or Australia or wherever they came from, the Cobram Estate Extra Virgin Olive Oil got the #1 tick. It's high in antioxidants and polyphenols. So buy the one in the supermarket that's got the 3 ticks. And secondly, you might say, well, it's expensive. Well, it's $15 for a 750ml bottle, which is more expensive than most of the other extra virgin olive oils. But what they do, the Boundary Bend crew, every 2 or 3 months, they will have a special. You go into Woolworths or Aldi or Coles, and what do you know? It's for sale at $7.50. Well, when that happens, I buy up big. Nothing for me to walk out with 6 or 12 bottles of Cobram Estate Extra Virgin Olive Oil, 3 drips. And I use some of it myself. I put it in a dark, cool place and store it. And I give it to my friends and my people that I work with who didn't realise that it was on special and may have missed out on the special. So good on you, Cobram Estate Extra Virgin Olive Oil. You're a great name in Australian food, and keep doing what you're doing. Thank you for joining me on this discussion about fats and oils, an important part of getting on the low carb ketosis journey. And thanks for watching the video.